The moment King Charles and Prince William allegedly stopped protecting Harry and Meghan's royal future, the entire palace atmosphere reportedly changed overnight. Not quietly, not gradually, completely. Because according to explosive whispers coming from inside royal circles, father and son are no longer divided when it comes to the Sussex drama. They are united, focused. And for the first time since Harry walked away from royal life, insiders claim Charles and William are now working together behind closed doors to reshape the monarchy into something far smaller, colder, and far more controlled, even if that means Archie and Lilibet are left completely outside the royal future forever. What makes this situation feel so dangerous is not just the alleged decisions being discussed, it is the timing. Suddenly, palace aides are reportedly reviewing long-term succession structures. Suddenly, discussions about working royals only are becoming louder again. Suddenly, senior insiders are leaking phrases like streamlined monarchy and future stability. And according to several royal watchers, none of those phrases are accidental anymore. There are signals that the palace may already be preparing the public for a future where Harry's children exist biologically inside the royal bloodline, but emotionally and institutionally outside the royal system itself. Because sources close to Montecito claim Meghan believed King Charles would eventually soften toward Archie and Lilibet. She allegedly believed time would heal the damage, that eventually the king would want all grandchildren equally visible inside the monarchy. But what reportedly shocked her recently was seeing William and Charles appearing more aligned than ever before. That changed everything. Because for years, rumors suggested Charles still carried emotional guilt over Harry, while William remained the harder force behind palace walls. But now insiders claim Charles himself has fully accepted the idea that the monarchy's survival may require permanent distance from the Sussex branch. Because once palace insiders began quietly discussing future generations, Meghan reportedly realized this was no longer about her or Harry. This was about the children, about inheritance, visibility, legacy, about who will stand on palace balconies 10 years from now and who will not even be invited close enough to appear in the frame. Sources claim one particular private conversation inside royal circles created absolute shock behind the scenes. According to whispers, advisors allegedly presented Charles and William with projections about the monarchy's future image under a younger generation. Who represents stability? Who represents controversy? Who strengthens public trust? Who creates constitutional headaches? And allegedly, one conclusion kept appearing over and over again: the palace cannot move forward while carrying permanent Sussex uncertainty into the next reign. That phrase reportedly hit like a bomb internally, because insiders claim William has become deeply obsessed with protecting the monarchy from future chaos. He reportedly believes the Oprah interview, the Netflix series, the memoir accusations, and years of public royal conflict permanently changed how the institution must operate going forward. And according to palace whispers, William no longer believes emotional family reconciliation can come before institutional survival. One insider allegedly described William's mentality in terrifyingly blunt terms. He would rather shrink the monarchy brutally than allow instability to spread into the next generation. And suddenly, people began connecting dots. Why have conversations about working royals intensified again? Why are palace aides reportedly discussing future title structures? Why are constitutional experts quietly appearing around internal discussions? Why does every new palace strategy seem to reduce emotional flexibility and increase institutional control? Some royal commentators believe Charles has finally surrendered to William's vision entirely. Not because Charles stopped loving Harry, but because he allegedly fears history repeating itself. Palace insiders reportedly remind the king constantly about the damage caused during the Charles-Diana era: public division, internal warfare, media humiliation, loss of control. And according to whispers, Charles is now terrified that unresolved Sussex drama could continue haunting the monarchy for decades unless drastic structural changes happen before William inherits the throne. Sources claim Harry still believed there was a pathway back toward partial reconciliation, especially for the children. He allegedly hoped Archie and Lilibet could eventually maintain visible royal ties, even if he and Meghan remained distant from palace operations. But recent palace movements reportedly left him shaken, because according to insiders, the discussions happening now are not temporary punishments. There are long-term monarchy redesign plans. And then then came another alleged development that intensified everything. Whispers began spreading that palace officials were privately discussing future royal events without including Sussex children in core ceremonial planning. Not officially, not publicly, but internally. Future balcony appearances, coronation generation optics, public royal representation decades ahead. And according to sources, Archie and Lilibet's names allegedly appeared less and less inside those conversations. Because insiders say Meghan does not see this as an administrative restructuring. She sees it as deliberate erasure. She reportedly believes the institution is slowly trying to remove emotional public attachment between Harry's children and the monarchy itself before William becomes king permanently. Because according to whispers from California circles, Meghan allegedly started consulting people connected to constitutional law discussions, quietly, carefully, trying to understand whether future title limitations or succession restrictions could legally be challenged if the monarchy attempts more aggressive restructuring later. What reportedly made this entire situation spiral into something even darker was the sudden realization inside Montecito that time was no longer helping Harry and Meghan, it was helping the palace. Because every year Archie and Lilibet grow further away from royal life, palace insiders claim William becomes more convinced that the separation should remain permanent. And according to whispers spreading through royal circles, Charles has now allegedly accepted a brutal reality himself. The monarchy's future image may no longer include Harry's branch at all. That realization reportedly devastated Harry privately. Because despite all the public anger, interviews, documentaries, and accusations, insiders claim Harry never fully believed the royal machine would emotionally disconnect from his children forever. He allegedly thought blood would eventually overpower conflict, that one day Charles would insist on rebuilding bridges, that one day William might soften for the sake of family history. But according to palace whispers, the opposite has happened instead. The more public chaos surrounded the Sussex story, the more determined William allegedly became to create a monarchy with fewer emotional vulnerabilities attached to it. And now insiders claim the palace is already mentally preparing for the post-Charles monarchy. That phrase alone reportedly changed the atmosphere completely behind closed doors, because when people inside the institution start planning beyond the current king, loyalty shifts, priorities harden, and future power structures quietly begin forming in advance. William is no longer being treated simply as heir. According to insiders, many palace officials already operate as if his future system is inevitable, and they are adapting themselves accordingly. That reportedly explains why certain staff members allegedly stopped advocating for Sussex reconciliation entirely. Sources claim there was once internal debate about finding softer ways to maintain connections with Archie and Lilibet publicly. Small appearances, symbolic gestures, occasional invitations. But now, according to whispers, that softer faction inside palace walls is disappearing rapidly. The dominant belief reportedly becoming that emotional compromise only creates future instability. And Meghan allegedly noticed the shift immediately. Sources close to California circles claim Meghan became especially alarmed after hearing whispers that palace aides were discussing public familiarity. In other words, which royal children the public emotionally connects with over time. George, Charlotte, Louis, constantly visible, constantly photographed, constantly integrated into royal identity. Meanwhile, Archie and Lilibet remain physically distant, rarely seen, and disconnected from ceremonial royal culture entirely. According to insiders, Meghan allegedly fears the palace understands exactly what that distance accomplishes long-term. Gradual public detachment. Because once public emotional attachment weakens, titles themselves reportedly become easier to reduce later without massive backlash. And if those whispers are true, then this situation may be far more calculated than people realize. Some royal commentators now believe Charles and William are not rushing toward dramatic public removals because they do not need to. Time itself is doing the work quietly for them. Every year outside Britain reportedly makes Archie and Lilibet appear less central to royal life organically, less connected to traditions, less connected to royal duty, less visible beside future senior royals. And insiders claim palace strategists understand the power of slow emotional separation better than anyone, because according to sources, he is trapped between two collapsing worlds. California reportedly expects him to defend his wife and children aggressively if palace restructuring continues. But emotionally, insiders say Harry still struggles with the idea of completely destroying any remaining pathway back toward his father, especially now with Charles aging and William's influence reportedly growing stronger every month. One source allegedly claimed Harry fears something deeply personal, that once William officially becomes king, the door may close permanently in ways even Charles hesitated to to enforce. And that fear reportedly hangs over nearly every private Sussex discussion now, because despite public statements about independence and freedom, insiders claim Harry never emotionally prepared for total royal erasure of his branch from the monarchy's future identity. And now that possibility reportedly feels terrifyingly real. Meanwhile, palace whispers suggest William sees the entire situation through one brutal lens only: survival. Survival of the monarchy. Survival of public trust. Survival of institutional discipline. According to insiders, William allegedly believes previous generations allowed emotional dysfunction to weaken the crown repeatedly, and sources claim he privately refuses to repeat that pattern under his reign, no matter how painful the personal consequences become, because insiders claim tensions are building toward a confrontation that may eventually explode publicly in ways nobody inside the monarchy can fully control anymore. Legal threats, succession debates, future title battles, private documents, family accusations, competing narratives, all sitting beneath the surface while Charles and William reportedly continue reshaping the monarchy quietly in the background. And the most chilling part? According to palace whispers, they may believe the storm is worth surviving if it guarantees one thing: a future crown completely protected from Sussex instability forever.